Think about this. Have you ever bought something you didn't really need, just because someone convinced you to? A subscription you never use, a limited edition sneaker, a gym contract you regretted signing the next day. At that moment it felt like your decision. But deep down, someone else was pulling the strings. You didn't choose. You were guided. You were being influenced. Robert Cialdini spent his entire career studying this invisible force, the art of getting people to say yes, even when they don't want to. He found that the human brain follows 6 powerful shortcuts. They save time, but they also make us predictable. Advertisers, politicians, influencers, they all know them. And if you don't, you become their favorite target. The rule of reciprocation. Someone gives you something, even something small, when suddenly you feel a tiny invisible debt, a free sample at the supermarket, a welcome gift from a brand you barely know, a stranger handing you a flower and smiling. You don't realize it, but your brain whispers, "They gave me something. I should give something back." In one experiment, a man named Joe offered strangers a 10-cent Coke. Later, he asked them to buy raffle tickets. The result? People who got the Coke spent 5 times more money, even those who admitted they didn't like Joe at all. That's the power of reciprocity. It's how fundraisers get donations, how salespeople turn a freebie into a full purchase, and how cults recruit new members. Defense: before you return the favor, stop and ask, was this a genuine gift or a calculated move? Real kindness expects nothing. Manipulation expects profit. The rule of rejection and retreat. Have you ever said yes to something just because saying no again felt rude? That's this rule in action. Cialdini once met a Boy Scout who asked him to buy $5 circus tickets. He said no. Then the boy said, "Okay. Would you at least buy some chocolate bars for $1?" Cialdini bought 2. Man walked away confused. Why? Because the boy conceded, so Cialdini's brain told him to reciprocate the concession. It's the same strategy used in negotiations, sales, even politics. Start high, get rejected. Retreat to what you really want. The contrast makes the final offer look reasonable. Defense: when a second offer sounds too fair, ask yourself, would I still agree if they hadn't asked for the crazy one first? If the answer is no, you just got played. The rule of scarcity: only 24 hours left. Last 10 in stock. Members only access. Scarcity makes things look more valuable than they really are, because we hate one thing more than anything else: missing out. In a 1982 study, shoppers told of a limited-time meat sale bought 3 times more. When told only a few people know about this deal, they bought 6 times more. Scarcity of product and scarcity of information, double manipulation. It's the same psychology behind stock market bubbles, real estate wars, and FOMO culture online. People don't buy the thing and they buy the fear of losing it. Defense: when you feel that sudden rush to steal that I need it now, panic, stop. Ask, do I want this because it's useful, or because it's disappearing? If it's the second one, step away. The rule of consistency and commitment. Humans crave internal harmony. Once we take a stand, even a tiny one, we feel pressure to stay consistent with it. On a crowded beach, researchers ask strangers, "Could you watch my things for a minute?" Later, a fake thief stole the radio. Only 20% intervened if they hadn't been asked. But when they'd said yes, 95% chased the thief down the sand. That's how powerful a single commitment can be. Salespeople exploit this all the time. They get you to sign a small petition, agree to a free trial, and suddenly you see yourself as a customer. From there, saying yes again just feels natural. Even the infamous lowball tactic works this way. A car dealer offers an amazing price, lets you imagine owning it, then discovers a mistake. The price goes up, but you still buy. Why? Because your mind already decided and it wants to stay consistent. Defense: ask yourself, If I'd known the full truth from the start, would I still agree? If not, your consistency is being used against you. The rule of social proof: when in doubt, we copy others. If everyone's laughing, you laugh too. If a product says #1 bestseller, you assume it must be. It's how we survive uncertainty, and how marketers sell billions. Remember the 1964 murder of Kitty Genovese? Dozens heard her screams. No one helped. Everyone assumed someone else would call the police. That's the bystander effect. The bigger the crowd, the smaller the action. In real life, if you ever need help, don't shout, "Somebody help!" Lock eyes with one person, you in the blue shirt, and call 911. Make it personal. Responsibility only sticks when it has a name. Social proof is why laugh tracks make bad jokes funny, why influencers say everyone's talking about this, and why fake testimonials still work. Defense: whenever you hear everyone's doing it, remember, real confidence doesn't need a crowd. The rule of liking: we say yes more easily to people we like, and liking is shockingly easy to manufacture. Flattery, similarity, familiarity, beauty, each one lowers your guard. That's why companies use peer-to-peer sales like Tupperware parties. You're not buying from a stranger. You're buying from your friend. And that's what makes it irresistible. It's also why interrogators use good cop, bad cop. The kind one defends you, sides with you, and earns your trust just long enough for you to confess. Defense: if you start liking someone too fast, slow down. Ask, do I like them for who they are, or because they're mirroring me? Real connection takes time. Manipulation is instant. The rule of authority: from the moment we are kids, we're taught to obey authority. Teachers, doctors, bosses, experts, but that obedience can blind us. In the 1960s, psychologist Stanley Milgram showed that ordinary people would deliver what they thought were deadly electric shocks to strangers, just because a man in a lab coat told them to. That's not history, as that's human nature. Even today, people buy products because a doctor recommends it, when the doctor is just an actor on TV. Titles, uniforms, props, and all-powerful symbols. Defense: ask 2 questions before obeying any expert. Is this person truly qualified, or just pretending? Do they gain more from my obedience than I do? If the answer feels wrong, step back. The hidden pattern. These 6 rules: reciprocation, scarcity, consistency, social proof, liking, and authority, aren't evil. They're just human shortcuts. They help us decide faster in a complex world, but the moment someone learns how to trigger them, you stop deciding for yourself. So next time you hear, "Only today," "Everyone's doing it," or "Trust me, I'm an expert," pause, breathe, think, because the strongest word in persuasion is not yes, it's the moment of silence before it. Outro, subscribe, CTA. If this video opened your eyes, if you learned something that made you see the world differently, then take a second and subscribe. This channel is all about understanding how the mind works, how we think, why we obey, and how to take back control. Every week, we break down psychology, persuasion, and the hidden systems shaping your choices. So if you want to become the kind of person who thinks before the world tells you what to think, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay one step ahead of influence, because knowledge is the only defense.